righty. This is the Quirky Bird Show on the artsradio.com, where we talk about all things quirky in the comedic arts. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. I promise next week it'll be a little bit more climactic. I'm going to have an intro. In fact, that's what I'm going to work on afterwards. So it's just not like nothing and then you'll hear a super awesome intro. That's what it's going to be. Today on the Quirky Bird Show, we are talking about people who do comedy in a musical fashion or incorporate music into their comedy. And I got three fantastic people calling into the show. First one is Tracy Kanan. She is a local out of Sarasota. I met her when I first started doing comedy, and she's absolutely fantastic. We have another person who's calling in, Jennifer Schimberger. She's out of the Chicago area, and she's out there hustling, doing a lot of comedy, really funny, and incorporates the music into it. And then I'm also going to call Jamie K. Burns, and she is a young comedian just starting out, and I met her a couple times at a comedy club here in Tampa, and she's absolutely phenomenal. She has a Celine Dion that's just absolutely spot on. And she does stand up, but she also does improv and sketch comedy. So we got that to look forward to. And as always, and once again, I promise to get a little bit more technical next time. I want to start off the show with the Quirky Bird question of the day. And I spell question like quirky with a KW because that's the way I roll. And the Quirky Bird question of the day. Maybe we'll have like a little Quirky Bird question of the day. Doo, 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 doo. Anyway, today's Quirky Bird question of the day is, what is your favorite musical act or bit? Since we're talking about music and comedy. And as always, you can call in at 727-597-4022. Chime in what you like to hear, what kind of musical acts you like. I always tell people that if they comment on my Facebook post, because I put this out on my Facebook, they comment on my Facebook post, I will read it via on air. Long Island Mary, a very funny comedian, actually from Sarasota, but coincidentally enough, she's in Long Island right now. She said that Tracy Kanan's entire closure of Soldier Boy and Lady Gaga. I have to say, Long Island Mary, you spelled soldier correctly, which is incorrect for it's Soulja Boy for this particular. But yeah, Tracy Kanan, she's going to be our first guest calling in. And she has a closer that's absolutely funny with the Soldier Boy. And we will talk to her about what inspired that little ditty. Maureen Sullivan, also, shout out to Maureen. She's got a show here on Health Info Radio, part of the Entertainment Global Media family. She said Stephen Lynch and Stephen Wright, which I didn't know that Stephen Wright had a musical act, but I did not investigate this before I read from my post. So Stephen Lynch and Stephen Wright, give a shout out to Maureen Sullivan. Krishna Reddy, very, very funny, another comedian from the Tampa area. He said Flight of the Conchord, hands down. And Jamie Burns' rendition of the Celine Dion singing Wheels on the Bus is great too. So see, I'm just chumming the waters for people to come in and call and tell me what they like. And what they like is actually the people I have as guests. So who's an awesome host? Charlotte Cakes Langley. For those of you guys who watched my last show, Charlotte was riding shotgun. She was my co-host, and it was a really fun show. You can Google it, or if you're watching this on Ustream, just watch the one up. But Charlotte said, Lonely Island all the way. If I'm ever in a bad mood, I like to play Mother Lover, Dick in a Box, I Jizz in My Pants. Good old awesome, wholesome entertainment. So Charlotte's not even here, and she's classing it up. She's making everything classy for us. And J.T. Burns, for those of you in the Comedy Slam family, you know J.T. Burns all too well. And he says he likes Dr. Dirty. So Dr. Dirty is what J.T. Burns likes. Also on the Quirky Question of the Day, we had my good friend Heidi Fallis. She said Ace's gig. Ace is another comedian here in the Tampa area, and he does guitar. We lost actually a really awesome comedian earlier this year, Dow Thomas, who coincidentally was a musical comedian, and we had a huge show for him. We had a weekend worth of shows, and all the proceeds went to like his widow for the for the cost of, the funeral. But and so a lot of the comedians did a lot of their acts, and Ace was one of them. And apparently he made Heidi. He impressed Heidi with all he knew. So yeah, that's what I want to talk about. In about 2 or 3 minutes, we will get Tracy Caden on the phone and talk about musical comedy. I am not musically inclined at all, so I'm always very impressed with the people who not only have what it takes to be a comedian, but then they parlay that into their musical ability, and they parlay that into not only being funny and being able to play a musical instrument, but also to play the musical instrument, be funny, especially the parody songs, because you take the parody songs, which is out there, and and you make them funny, and you make them clever, and you put them into your own words. So we'll be talking to them about that. Hey, Nolan, do you have Tracy on the line? We're getting Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, if you got her. Oh, I'm sorry. And you know what? I think our clock is a little fast. You know what? It probably is 2 minutes because on my laptop it says 8:38. What you need to do is scooch that clock back, just like this hair, like that much. Well, and plus it's a battery clock, and sometimes the batteries slow down. And okay, yeah, not a problem, not a problem. Hey, so while you're calling her, who is your favorite act, Nolan? The musical act, like musical and comedy act.
Of all time?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
Like a comedian who uses music in their act. Not just a comedian and not just a singer, but like someone like Dow Thomas. He used both the music and the. Have you seen Tracy?
Oh,
she uses both.
I'm an oddity because I actually like Jamie Kennedy, and he does rap and hip hop and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, I only saw his stuff when he did the. Didn't he used to have like a punk show? Like he would.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but he sings in.
Yeah, he pretended to be a rapper for a while. It was really funny.
Oh, did he? Now, can he rap really well?
Yeah, I think so.
Can he? Okay. I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's one of the. Oh, Jack Black, I guess he does.
Yeah, Jack Black, definitely Jack Black.
Are you just saying that because I said that?
No, I can actually sing the entire song if you want. I could sing tribute word for word all the way through.
Yeah, unless you know how to sing, that's probably not a good idea.
Well, she's not picking up. I don't know if.
Oh, Tracy's not?
Yeah, we caught a voicemail.
Okay.
Well, so, do you want to call number 2 or?
I don't know that number 2 is actually ready for us, and we're talking about the second guest, not calling someone number 2. We wouldn't do that. Wouldn't do that.
Yeah, you should never call someone number 2.
I'll tell you what. Try to call Tracy one more time, and then we'll go to the second.
I'll be right back then.
Okay, not a problem.
And plus, I mean, if we can't get a hold of her, I will sing tribute for you.
You'll sing Jack Black tribute?
Yeah, I will.
Okay. You heard that? Actually, for those of you who don't know Nolan and aren't in the studio, he looks like a thin version of Jack Black. He's got the long hair. He's got the gruff, the beard, but he's probably 80, 90 pounds thinner than Jack Black. So we are as always having fun technical issues here. If we can't get Tracy Caden, we will call the next person on our list, which is Jennifer Schimberger. She is out of Chicago. Chicago happens to be one of my favorite of all cities. And hold on. At last minute, we also have John J. Murray just answered the quirky question of the day.
No, Ben. No good. She's not picking up.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Do you want to call Jennifer?
Yep, sure. I'll try her then. Jennifer?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'll try right now.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, not a problem. Not a problem. Hey, John J. Murray said Reggie Watts. I've never even heard of Reggie Watts. Do you know who Reggie Watts is, Nolan?
I do not.
Okay. All righty.
I am not a student of comedy.
You're just a comedian.
I'm just a comedian. I don't waste my time researching about other comedians. I just try to do.
Okay.
That's just me.
Okay. Oh, that could be. In some ways, I think that's right, because then you don't want to like emulate who you're trying to do. But then, it never hurts to study. Never hurts to practice up on who you like. Okay, so we got Reggie Watts. Also, Kristen Reddy wrote Flight of the Concorde. I guess I really do need to research the answers to the quirky question of the day. I thought The Flight of the Conchords was a movie, but I'm not one to go to movies because I'm usually out shucking and jiving on the stage, much like I'm shucking and jiving right now. So, yeah, Flight of the Conchords. I think I always get that movie confused with the sad movie about the penguins. So, apparently they are two different things. So, we are right now trying. We've got someone on the line. Jennifer?
Yes.
Hey, this is Robin. Thank you for being on the Quirky Bird show. I'm sorry, we had a little bit of a scheduling conflict, so I called you a little early.
That's okay.
How are you doing today, Jennifer?
Oh, I am great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Here on the Quirky Bird show, we are talking about musical comedians who use music in their act. And I heard word on the street that you are very good at not only being a comedian, but being a musical comedian.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I enjoy it a lot.
Now, how long have you been doing comedy?
About 5 years.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's about as long as I have been. Now, what started for you first? Did you always sing and then you incorporated the comedy into it, or did you decide to do comedy and then thought, well, I can sing, so I'll put that into it?
I just kind of, I've always been, I always played the ukulele. I just kind of always wrote stupid songs growing up, and I didn't really think twice about it. I always wanted to do stand-up, and then I started doing stand-up first, as far as actually, like, in front of people. I always perform my songs, like, in front of everyone in college, but, like, not really I just did it for fun.
Like at drunken frat parties.
So, yeah, I did stand-up first. Well, I did stand-up, and then I put the ukulele, like, into my act after.
You know,
I was on, and people were like, why don't you use the ukulele?
It's funny you mentioned the ukulele. I have a 6-year-old daughter, and I bought her a ukulele. And now that I got her the ukulele, people are saying, like, the ukulele is truly coming back into fashion. Like it's a new hot thing in not in comedy, just in music. Like the ukulele is the next big thing.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, I don't, like, when I started playing it, everyone was like, that's the stupidest instrument in the world. So it's really weird that people think it's cool now, or, like, think that it's, yeah, I mean, people before would be like, oh, Tiny Tim. And I'm like, no, that's not what I do.
Well, and I always thought Tiny Tim, and I always thought the Tiny Bubbles, the Hawaiian type music. But just me, and I have no musical ability whatsoever, but just me kind of playing around on her ukulele, it's not that tinny sound. You can make it sound really nice. It's just you can make it sound tinny as well, too. So, if that makes sense. I mean,
it's an actually very beautiful sounding instrument. I don't think people realize, like, what all you can do with the ukulele and the songs that you can play on it. It really is a pretty instrument.
Now, how did you start playing the ukulele?
I actually went to the store. I was in high school. I was like a freshman in high school, and I went in to buy a guitar, and I didn't have enough money. So I bought a ukulele instead.
So you were like, yeah, I'm going to buy a guitar. I don't have the cash. I'll buy a ukulele.
Yeah, and I started playing around with it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this thing is so cool, and it was tiny, and I liked how, I could travel with it. And my mom, she was like, she told me it was boring and not to buy it, and I was just like, well, whatever, like, I'm buying it anyway.
It's my money. Well, that's one thing with like I say, my daughter, she's very musically inclined, so someone told me to get the ukulele because it's only 4 strings and it's a lot smaller,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a lot easier than like maybe to learn like 6 strings and different chords with the 6 strings. So now as far as your comedy goes, do you make up original songs or do you do like more of the parody style?
I do original songs. They just always, that's how I've always been. I don't know, it's just, I'll hear songs and I can think of like a parody to it or whatever, but I've always just done original music.
Okay, so as far as like your act goes, all your songs are the original songs. It's not so much of a Weird Al like parody bit.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Well, and then so you say you've been doing musical stand up for about 5 years. What's the Chicago? Are you from Chicago? Because when I originally talked to Tracy, she by the way, Tracy raves about you. She says very good things about you and your comedy. She says that you're based out of Cincinnati. Have you since moved to Chicago?
Yeah, I started in Atlanta, Georgia, and then moved to Cleveland, and that's where I was for the majority of my stand-up career so far. And then I just moved to Chicago in January.
Okay, and now what's the stand-up scene like in Chicago?
It's very active. I mean, there's something to do 7 nights a week, which is great. A lot of clubs to get into. I performed at the Improv and Zanies here so far, as far as at clubs. Yeah, it's excellent. I think it definitely challenges you to come up with new stuff all the time because the people, I mean, and writing is a big part of it, as you know. I mean, you have to write all the time, so it definitely keeps you on your toes.
That's awesome. Now Second City is real big in Chicago. Have you done anything with Second City?
Yeah, I actually took improv classes at Second City because that was one part of my act that I thought I was lacking, and I guess I thought that was like a weakness of mine. So I thought, well, I'll go take classes and try to improve it. So I took pretty much I took like A through E, their courses, which is like their entire improv course. And I thought I benefited a lot from it, just helping you get outside of your set, you know, or if you do go outside, like, it's okay.
Now, one thing I've noticed with musical acts, and I think this is an advantage. I know hands and shoulder or head and shoulders, whatever the expression is, over just regular stand up. Sometimes it can get their attention, especially like a really rowdy crowd or a really drunk crowd. And I've seen this with Tracy because I've had the honor to have a few hell gigs with her. And when you get a crowd that really doesn't want to like hear what you have to say or your smart quips about the world around us, and they're just like, "Rrr." I found like when Tracy starts on her keyboard, it sort of shuts them up and gets their attention. Do you ever find that using that, it kind of gives you an edge to maybe a crowd that's a little distracted?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's especially going up with the ukulele, and Tracy is very good. Tracy's a great comedian to begin with, but going up with an instrument, period, I think gets people's attention, and then make that a ukulele, and some people still don't know what the ukulele is, you know, so they're kind of like, is that a tiny guitar? And you're like, oh, but it gets their attention for sure. The only bad thing I would say about musical comedy is that once you get into a song, it's very hard to get out of it. So if it's something that they hate, you're like, I have to write this out for the next 2 minutes.
That's funny. I never thought about that because sometimes, like, the same thing with regular comedy, if you're in a really, really long bit, you can't get out. You're like, oh, they want nothing. Like, you feel the brow sweat. So the same thing's happening. You just can't like stop mid song and be like, eh.
Yeah, there's times like I'll try to. And the thing is, like, it doesn't happen a ton, but when it does happen, you start thinking, like, oh crap, like, where can I cut here? I'm like, okay, well, I normally do this. I can probably skip past that part of it and go straight to here so I can get to the end quicker. but that's, like I said, most of the time it's a lot of fun to do music, and I think people enjoy music, and I mean music is so much a part of our lives, period, and when you can get somebody who can take that and put humor into it, you know, I think definitely,
I agree.
There's an advantage there.
I agree. I mean, I know that there's a school of thought out there, and I guess with anything, especially comedy, because it gets really cutthroat. There's a school of thought out there that unless you're up there with nothing but you and a mic, it's not pure stand up. Like any sort of like music or props or something is sort of cheating. What do you think about like that? I'm sure you've heard that before.
Oh yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that I use the ukulele, or like any really musical act. I've heard this, but in particular, I've heard people tell me that I use the ukulele as a crutch, and it's like, well, because I go back and forth between stand up and my music,
mm-hmm.
and I found that funny because if you could listen to somebody who doesn't have a musical instrument and they have crutches also. You know, they're just verbal crutches, you know, instead of using your, and it's like, I just think that that's ridiculous. Like to say, I don't know, funny is funny, and if an audience enjoys it, then why are you judging that? You know, it's maybe the person saying that is, I don't know, I hate to use the word like jealous or something like that. I'm not saying that people are jealous of, maybe they wish that they could have, you know, they're not musically inclined, they can't write songs or something, I don't know. But like maybe they don't have the guts to get up there and play it. But
I agree with
it's an art form. I feel like songs are a lot harder. I mean, I write both songs and jokes, I guess. And it's, you know, not only do you have to come up with the music, but you're also coming up with words, and you have to have, you know, there's a craft to writing a good song, and whether it's humorous or not, like, it's still hard work. And to go up there and present that, that's still a part of you, and as long as you're being you, then I don't see any reason why that should be considered, you know, not real comedy or whatever.
I agree. I mean, but you know how comedy can get sometimes. Sometimes people can be like purists, but I agree. And I think when the rubber hits the road and you're up there and you're entertaining people, I mean, that's all it really boils down to. You know, if someone can have a shitty day and then they come and they see you with the ukulele and you made them smile, and you know you were able to you know kind of alleviate it. I mean, that's what comedy's all about. That's what it does.
All right. It's just, I think, and I really think that stigma comes from other comedians almost, because of, I mean, it just, like, I remember working with a comedian. I showed up at the club, and he looked at me and he goes, "Oh, I am back on a comedy circuit, aren't I?" He never even heard my act, didn't even know what I was all about. He just saw the ukulele and just immediately dismissed me.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, okay, that's fine, you know. Yeah, and I was like, okay, that's fine, whatever. Like, I'll get up there and you'll see that I'm funny. And that's exactly what happened, you know. And not that I was out to get him or anything like that, but it was just one of those things that's like, you judge without even hearing like a word out of my mouth. But because it's musical comedy, and that's amazing to me that people just automatically will dismiss that.
It is. And I think that's more of an insider thing. You know what I mean? I think as far as, and that's what I always think, as far as like the audience goes, when the rubber meets the road, that's who you're looking to entertain. But yeah, it's amazing, some of the backstories that you get in comedy, and some of the stigmas that you run up against with other people and other comedians.
Yeah, I just look at it as like when I go up on stage, it's, you know, it's just me and the microphone, and, you know, whatever that headliner is thinking, or whoever you're working with is thinking, or whatever. Like, I look at that, that's your time to entertain the audience, you know, and you can do whatever you want up there, and as long as it gets laughs, who cares?
Absolutely. Now, I always have a quirky question of the day, and my quirky question for this show was about musical comedy. And who is your like all-time favorite, either musical act or musical like bit?
That's a hard one. Let's see here. I go back, Steve Martin is like my all-time favorite.
I forgot, and he does the banjo too.
Yeah, and he had some of his stuff did not make sense whatsoever, but it was hilarious. And and you just follow him, and he's very quirky, and I would say his comedy was my favorite, like musical type. I consider him, you know, a musical act anyway, part of it anyway. Yeah, I would say he was probably my favorite. He has this song about I think it was a song his grandma used to sing him, and it just like it made completely no sense. It was great though.
I was gonna say, yeah, Steve Martin's absolutely one of the greatest on there. Now, do you have anything that you want to plug? Any sort of anything coming up? Any websites? Any Facebook pages?
Yeah, I have a website. It's jenshencomedy.com. It's JENSHEN comedy.com, and I have a new CD that's coming out this summer. It's just finishing getting mixed and mastered, and those are the big things right now. my CD. I've got shows coming up, but you can check those out on my website.
Okay, so Jen Shin. That's very cool. Jennifer Schinberger. Jen Shin. See, I'm very envious of names like that. It's like you were meant to be a comedian.
People screw up my last name all the time.
So you just
it shouldn't be that hard, you wouldn't think. But
do you just pronounce it Schinberger, like the shin on your leg, and a burger like Schinberger?
That's why I'm like, I told him, like, it's like the body part in the food. Like, it's not that hard.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it would be hard. Okay.
No.
Okay. Well, Jennifer,
One time we got Finn Dieter, though.
You got who?
Finn Dieter as the last name instead of Schinberger. How you come up with that, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, that's insane. That's funny. All right. Well, thank you very much for calling in, Jennifer. I appreciate it. And once again, that's what, jenshin.com?
Genshin Comedy.
Genshin Comedy. Sorry, because if they went to another Genshin, God knows what they would find.
Right.
Okay.
Well, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, not a problem. Not a problem. It's great to have you on. And we're Facebook friends, so I'll be following you. And I would love to get to the Windy City. That's one of my favorite cities. I grew up in Kansas City. And back like in the early 90s, you could go from Kansas City round trip, like $35-$50 on Southwest. Or there used to be an old airline called, like, either it was Midwest or Midway. That was the same thing. So I've spent a little bit of time in Chicago just because it was so cheap at one point in my life, which is probably not now. But it's a great city and a lot to do and a lot of fun. So yeah, best of luck in your endeavors, and I will be watching your progress via Facebook land.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for being on, Jen. Okay, I think Jen is off. That was fun. Here we are gonna have Tracy Kanan on the line here shortly. We've got a couple more people that we're gonna call. I think we're having some issues in the studio, but yeah, that was really good. My daughter has the ukulele. Like I say, I think it's an up and coming instrument. Not just for Tiny Tim anymore, but it's the little instrument, and you play with the little fingers and 4 strings. That's all you need, 4 strings. So yeah, we will have Tracy Kanan coming up later, and we are also going to have Jamie K. Burns on the line. So if we can get the folks in the studio who may not actually be in the studio. So good stuff, good times. All righty. Well, what's more with the quirky question of the day? Calling out there. Anyone wants to call in? 727-597-4022, or text me, or send me something on the Quirky Bird question of the day, talking about music and comedy, how they go together, what makes music and comedy. There's a lot of people out there trying to do both the music and the comedy. Weird Al Yankovic is actually one of my favorite. He started doing the comedy long time ago with the parodies, and I know that's what Tracy Kanan does. She's very good with the parodies. I also worked with Cletus T. Judd. He's sort of the country version of Weird Al Yankovic, and so. That was impressive working with him. And it's always impressive how they get the songs and the writing, because like Jennifer was saying, you've got the writing, and it's hard enough to write a song, but then how you write a song, how do you write a song and then make it funny and then make it coming. So I'm sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties right now trying to get the folks in the studio to get my guests online. Also, I for those of you who watched my show before, we had talked earlier on the first show about women comedians and who's your favorite women comedian. And Carol Burnett was always one of my favorite women comedians. And this was back when they used the variety show, and they used to always use a lot of music in that as well too, as far as the music and what you were trying to do with it. You had Carol Burnett, Harvey Korman, and Tim Conway trying to work on the fly. They also had a lot of musical guests, a lot of people on there who. Hold on. Okay, we got a guy in here. Sorry about that. I'm stopping my rambling for a little bit. Hey, we got Tracy trying to call in. If you can give her a call.
Apologize about that. I'm really, really sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm just babbling like a crazy person, Nolan. Good times.
Happens. All right, we're gonna call her right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're getting Tracy Kanan on the line. She's one of my favorite musical acts right here in the Tampa area, right from Sarasota. I think she's originally from Cincinnati as well. And we have her on the phone. Hey, how you doing, Tracy?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Welcome to the Quirky Bird Show.
Why, thank you. I tried calling. I was becoming an organ donor. Yes, I was coughing up a lung when you were calling the first time, and there was no way
that you were going to answer and cough. We actually just got done talking to your friend Jennifer, who you recommended that I have on this show. Very impressive. She apparently plays the ukulele.
Yeah. Oh, Jen's awesome. She's awesomely funny. I got to see her perform in Funny Stop in Ohio, and she was great.
Okay. Now, you both are Ohio girls. You're originally from Ohio, correct?
I'm from Ohio, but I've been down in Florida 16 years.
Oh, okay. That's almost like being...
I think... Yeah, I'm almost a Florida native. Another year, I should have my card.
You should have your card.
I'm confused because I'm getting an echo on my phone, and I don't know why.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm talking too close to the... Is that better?
Let me think. No, it's something on my end that it's echoing.
Just real quick, I just wanted to how long have you been in comedy?
It'll be 10 years this September.
Oh, 10 years. Wow. Now, did you, and I asked this of Jennifer as well, too, did you start comedy and then incorporate music into it, or were you always musically inclined and then you incorporated comedy into your music?
I started by doing improv and then worked my way into comedy just for a short while, and then I brought the music in, and then somebody recommended that I put the keyboard away and just focus on my stand-up and get really, really good at stand-up and then bring in the keyboard, and then I'm a double whammy kind of a show. So that's what I did. I actually put the keyboard away for a year and just worked on my stand-up, and I got, a decent 15, 20 minutes doing that. But I like the keyboard. It's something different, and it seems to pick everybody up and make everybody happy. So that's where I put my effort.
I agree. I mean, I've seen you many a time, and like I was telling Jennifer before, you and I have the luxury of working many hell gigs together. And one thing that I think that
oh yeah.
Amazing. Here in Florida, there's hell gigs, but
hey, hell gigs are my specialty.
But you can. I think you have the advantage of a musical instrument for people who just aren't paying attention, who are just too drunk to care. When you start playing it, I think that sort of perks up their ears, and they're like, "Oh, we'll give this person a shot." So I think that's actually pretty cool.
It can work against you though too, because if they think it's karaoke or if they think that I'm going to be doing the whole song, then they perk up, they recognize the tune, and then they fall back into table talk. And so that's why my parodies are often one or two lines. They're not very long. I'm always constantly changing it up so I can keep their attention so that they know it's different than karaoke or a live music performance, and that they need to pay attention.
That is true. I've heard your act enough. You your parodies aren't very long. I mean, they're very, very funny, but they're like little parody bites. And I mean, I've heard other musical acts who sometimes have like 2 or 3 minute songs, but yours are like maybe 30, 40 seconds max on most of them.
Yeah, it's mostly because I have ADD, and I just can't remember that much stuff.
Oh, you can cuss. You can cuss, Tracy.
I just can't remember a whole. I have one parody that I do in another show, and it's probably 3 or 4 minutes long, and I'll be damned if I can finish it. It's just too many words for me to remember.
Now,
so
I asked.
Rehearsing doesn't help that.
Who rehearses? Now, I asked the quirky question of the day, and I want to ask it to you, but I actually had 2 people respond with your name on my quirky question of the day. I asked who...
oh, nice.
Yeah, well, one of them was your husband. But I asked... I asked who...
Yeah, he would do that. I pay him for that.
Yeah. He's good people. I've met him several times. I asked the quirky question of the day, who's your favorite musical actor bit? And Long Island Mary, a mutual friend of ours, she mentioned you as well. She said that you were her favorite, as well as Mike Burton, your husband, said that you were her favorite. But she also mentioned your closing with Soulja Boy, although she spelled it Soldier, so, you know, how uncool.
Oh, she didn't spell it the ghetto way.
She spelled it grammatically correct.
No, really, if you're well, she was just at Soldier City. That's why she was. Yeah, Soulja, Soulja is the proper ghetto spelling of Boy. So, were you asking me who my favorite musical acts were?
Yes, I am. I wanted to get back to the Soulja Boy, but I am curious who your favorite musical acts are.
Golly, I like Judy Tenuta.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Judy Tenuta.
She's pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she does she's a quirky combination of stand up and song parodies and made up stuff. She's probably the first one I saw. Michael Mack is a favorite. Of course, I grew up listening to Weird Al Yankovic, Ray Stevens.
Oh, I forgot about Ray Stevens.
One of the first albums I got as a little kid, and I'm saying album as in 33 RPMs, was Goofy Greats and then Kooky Tunes by K-Tel. And I played those out. Mine were flat by the time I was done with them, especially the Goofy Greats. And there was Ahab, the Arab, and the Red Baron, and Please, Mr. Custard, I don't want to go. And all kinds of tunes, and I knew that album by heart.
I forgot about half of those.
Always been listening to weird stuff. In fact, I was thinking of putting together a little tribute to all the weird stuff I used to listen to as a kid, and actually act out some of the funnier lines in those songs. But I don't know if I'm going to do it yet. It's kind of edgy.
You know, you're going to act out.
Yeah, I would actually do little bits of the recordings. Like when I was younger, I was an only child, and my parents always would get me a babysitter. And one of the babysitters was like 300 years old, and her name was Mary, and I would always put on shows for her. So I would do little act outs to all these songs that were on the Kooky Tunes and Goofy Greats. And she just thought I was the greatest thing. You know, of course, I was 17, so... But so anyhow, I was thinking of doing just like a little tribute to all those songs where my parodies, you know, came from. Eventually, 40 years later.
That's a great thing, especially people like around our age, because I think you're in your 40s like me. Because I think maybe people who don't know what you're talking about, but they used to have. It was almost like the K-Tel records. Like they would have like offbeat little funsy records. I remember that.
Oh yeah. They and Ray Stevens was one of them. He recorded a lot of strange stuff, and then sometimes it was, a little more mainstream. Like one of the tunes on there was Hot Rod Lincoln, and it was just kind of a cute little story about the guy and his Hot Rod Lincoln. And I'm trying to think of what other. So I knew Ahab the Arab because I was the only Arab in my school. And I was like, wow, a song about me. How cool is that? And then I was really ecstatic when Sha Na Na came out. And they did act out all this stuff. And they did act out Ahab the Arab. And it was the greatest thing ever for me.
Sha Na
Rings on her
Na.
fingers and bells on her toes and a bone in the nose. Oh, oh.
Sha Na Na. I haven't thought about them in forever. Oh my gosh, you're firing up my synapses that I thought were dormant.
Oh, I liked them before I knew I was a geek. Yeah, I love Sha Na Na.
Now,
I always wanted to be the blonde, the bimbo blonde that was on there. Hey, I do good songs. It's time for Sha Na Na. I love that stuff.
I don't remember the lady. I just remember the guy who was really, really tall, and then he always pulled up his sleeves, like Bowser or Browser or Bruiser. Bowser.
Yeah, Bowser. Yeah. Screaming Scott was the pianist, and I don't know the lady's name. Screaming Scott, Bowser. I'll find that Ahab the Arab. I'll post it on your Facebook. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm just remembering this, but my parents had the old Johnny Cash record, and it was like a silly Johnny Cash record. I mean, they had like it was him being swallowed by a snake, and the boy named Sue was on there. Like he had like a whole silly album. So I guess maybe some singers try to do the comedy maybe every now and again.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all the stuff I grew up on. And sometimes, like I'll be in McCurdy's in Sarasota. Sometimes I get an older audience, and I get to the Soldier Boy, and they don't know what the hell I'm doing. They're like, "Well, what is this crap? We liked her up until we started hearing this ghetto shit." And I thought, well, maybe if I do the little tribute with the older songs that they would kind of know, that they would dig that. So.
Now,
and if it sucks, then I can fall back on the Soldier Boy.
Now, the Soldier Boy is really funny. I have to admit, like Mary, that is one of my funniest bits. That and your song about the panda, that one just slays me every time. But your Soldier Boy,
I want to eat a panda. You know, it was funny. My husband and I took a cruise to the Galapagos Islands, and we stopped off in Ecuador, and they eat guinea pig in Ecuador, and a bunch of us were like, "Come on, let's try the guinea pig," and I'm sitting there going, "I don't want to eat the guinea pig," and then they're like, "But you think about eating the panda, you better eat the guinea pig." I'm like, "All right, I'll eat the guinea pig."
How big is a guinea? Oh, is it? I was gonna say, I mean, a guinea pig steak would be like tiny, like a little slither of a steak.
Oh, it was. I think it was just the presentation of it because I had guinea pigs as a kid, and I just never strung them up, never seen them without hair strung up on an open fire and then cut up on a plate before. It was just, I don't know, not my deal.
Oh, yeah.
But I tried. They call them Kwee.
They call them
Kuy. Kwee.
Kwee.
That's what they call them in Ecuador, but it's guinea pig.
Holy cow.
Yeah, just so you know.
Just so you know.
Try my Kwee. No, thank you. Tracy says it's guinea pig.
I don't want to eat guinea pig. Well,
I'm Jewish. I don't eat ham.
Little teensy ham. Little guinea pig ham. So. Well, now
guinea ham.
Now, Tracy, you have a big weekend coming up. You're going to be playing locally at McCurdy's, aren't you?
Yes. I am at McCurdy's Comedy Theater, July 5th through the 8th. Shows at 7:30 every night, and then Friday and Saturday another show at 9:45. My Thursday show is going to be awesome. I have 2 wrestlers, professional wrestlers coming in. They are huge fans of mine. They are the official wrestling team for the Princess of Parodies. And they're going to be coming up on stage with me and doing a little number Thursday night.
Oh, so you're incorporating it into your act.
He's enormous. He's like and they're both champion wrestlers. The other one's in a lighter weight range, but they're both champion wrestlers. And how I found out about them, they came to my show, they bought my shirt. And then on Facebook, I keep reading about this Bad Company wrestling team, and there's their pictures in my T-shirts, which say, "That which does not kill me only continues to piss me off."
Oh.
And they kept tagging me in their photos. So I kept getting all these photos of these guys wearing my shirts. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then I started reading up on them, and they're professional wrestlers, and they're champions. So I made them the official wrestling team of the Princess of Parodies. So they're going to be at my show Thursday.
So,
and we're going to do a little musical number.
Okay. And so is it something that you guys have rehearsed? Are you winging it? Are you?
They have no idea what they're doing, which is even better. They said, don't take it easy on us. I go, you're not going to be doing anything that I won't be doing with you. And they're like, oh, no.
Now, are they in return ever going to ask you to go into the ring?
They have asked me. I was going to do it, but we couldn't make it work out. I had something going on with my family at that time that I had to take care of, but at some point I probably will manage them, much like Cyndi Lauper managed her wrestling team in the future. Where I'll walk into the ring with them and say, no, we're going to kill them. We're going to kill them. They're going down. There's nothing like Bad Company. They're going down. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that.
Or you could even do a parody of a Bad Company song. You know, the band Bad Company. I don't know.
I'm gonna start playing the Bad Company riff because that's a nice little piano thing, so they know it's their time to come up on stage.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm going to introduce them as the official wrestling team of the Princess of Parodies. They're going to be wearing my shirts. It's going to be awesome. So, we'll be taping that. That'll be on YouTube within days.
Well, Tracy,
probably Friday.
Well, Tracy, thank you for coming on. Anything you want to plug? I do know you're going to be at McCurdy's. Your website, your Facebook, your Twitter, whatever you want to plug. This is your chance now.
The best thing, get to my website because that's all stuff you can spell. I like Jen Schenneberger, have a name that nobody can spell. So my website is Princess of Parodies. Parodies.
Okay.
And do not confuse that with Princess of Paradise because that's a porn site. I should just try and buy it. But anyhow, Princess of Parodies, PARODIES.com. And then from there, you can get to my Facebook, MySpace, like if anybody still uses that, YouTube, Twitter when I think to sign on, and I think I Tumblr now, and I don't know. The other thing, this is kind of neat. You know, I lost 85 pounds.
Oh, that's right.
And I'm coming out with a new website, and that should be up within a couple of weeks, and it's called Laughing All the Way, WEIGH.
Look how clever you are.
And it'll be updates on my my maintenance, on my 85-pound weight loss, and tips on how you can lower your weight. And also, I'm looking at becoming the funniest Zumba instructor.
Oh, you're going to do the Zumba?
Yeah, I'm going to go for my Zumba certification July 20th.
Oh, look at you.
So I will become a licensed Zumba instructor. I already took my CPR and first aid class, so if you bust out laughing or tripping, I'm there. I can take your ankle and I can revive a dummy with no arms and legs just fine. So that's what we're doing.
Okay, well, my goodness.
That's what we're doing, and that'll kind of fill in my Mondays and Tuesdays when I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, because you don't need to rest, do you?
Yeah, because I don't have enough to do. So
well,
I'm not sure Zumba instructor.
Okay.
I can do that.
You can. If I live
Everybody's going to Soldier Boy for an hour.
I was gonna say, if I live closer, I would definitely take it. Maybe one of these days I'll make a trip just down to the to Sarasota to do to do the Zumba.
Oh, you should. And what's cool about Zumba is that there's a lot of Arab rhythm in there, and I'm Arab, so nobody shakes it like me. We get these coin skirts in my class. I can almost shake mine off. That's how much. Because when you're Arab belly dancing, you have to learn it by the time you're 4. It's the law. So I love it.
Okay.
I just love it. So yeah, Laughing All the Way, WEIGH.
Okay.
.com.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for calling in, Tracy. You have a lot of juggling, a lot of balls in the air.
Oh, love it.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Tracy.
Okay. Cool.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you. Take care. All right. Bye.
Okay. We're running a little bit long. Well, not long, but we have our very last caller to call in. Two great callers. This has been amazing. We are going to talk to Jamie Burns. She is also out of Chicago. She used to live here in the Lakeland area, which is just I don't know, 30, 40 minutes away from Tampa. And we are going to get her on the phone and talk to her a little bit about what she does with the musical comedy. So far, we've had some really impressive ladies. Okay. We might actually make this a little bit of a longer version of the Quirky Bird Show. We've had some good people on. We're going to have... and we have Jamie on the phone. Hey, Jamie, how are you?
Good. How are you, Robin?
Sorry, I know we went a little off on our schedule, but that's live radio for you. Everything that you plan out never works. So Jamie, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I've been watching you guys.
Well, as you know, you're in good company. You have two very, very funny musical ladies who came before you. And how long have you been in comedy, Jamie?
I've been doing it for about, I would say, stand-up about 2 years now. I did some stuff in college prior to doing stand-up.
Okay, and like I was asking them, did you start the music first, or did you do the comedy, and then, what came first, the comedy or the music?
I think the music came first. I grew up in a very musical family, so when I came to college, I was in a drama troupe, and they wanted a parody. So I did a parody of Colby Tallett's Bubbly.
Okay.
So, and that was called Hungry.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it went really well. The crowd really responded well to it. I was like, I might have something here.
Wow. Now, I've seen you a couple of times, and you have a spot on, like, so far it sounds like everyone, like, it sounds like Jennifer doesn't really do parodies. She just plays the ukulele, and I know that Tracy, she does parodies, but she does them on the keyboard. And you play the keyboard and you do parodies, but you are spot on. Like, you have a Celine Dion that is just, so you do, I don't know what's the word for impersonations. You impersonate singers as well as parody them and be funny. That has to be a lot to accomplish.
Yeah, I actually have been, doing impersonations for a while and characters ever since I was a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that I never really thought about. It just, growing up, I would go in my room for hours and just record fake radio shows and have musical guests on. I had names for them and everything. So I've been doing this for a long time. It's just been quite recently I put it to the stage. So
that's funny. What were some of your imaginary names for your imaginary guests?
Oh my goodness. Well, one of them was Janice McVeigh, and she was a singer-songwriter. And in each performance that she did, she had some problem with her throat and would start coughing mid-performance. And I had been about 8 when I made this character.
Wow.
And I had, what?
Wow, that's awesome that you were that young and you thought of something that funny. I mean, that could be like a whole Saturday Night Live like character right there.
Yeah, it's so weird because I never really, I didn't even really watch comedy or anything growing up. It was just so innate. Like, I just had this need to have all these characters. So I just made up my own little world growing up, and I would escape to it and have all of these crazy characters. And I had like a news show called Foot Fungus Network when I was little. So it just, I don't know, I've always been crazy.
Foot Fungus Network. That is so funny. Now, did you do shows like to your parents, or are you more introverted? Like that was just your little world, and that's where you sort of went to escape the life?
Yeah, I mean, you hear this a lot with different comedians, but I was actually pretty introverted, very quiet growing up. I would sing around the house, but no, if somebody knocked my door while I was recording. I'd be like, get away! Like, I didn't want anybody to hear. And then once I was finished recording, I would let them come in and listen.
Oh, okay.
But prior to, it was just me and my recorder.
Okay, so you would eventually share, but you would want to do it on your own.
Yeah, like I would share it with my family and a couple of my close friends. I still have the tapes, so if I ever do become famous or anything, they can unleash them on Entertainment Tonight or something like that.
I can see that. Just in, Jamie Burns's old tapes, and then they flash to you, you know, la la,
Yeah.
having the lady who coughs in the middle.
Yeah.
Now this move to Chicago, that's fairly new because you're a Lakeland girl. You're local from here in Florida.
Yeah, I've been a Florida girl my whole life. I just moved to Chicago in April, but I did a semester at Second City in 2010, so I was up here for about 6 months. So I got a little taste of Chicago, and I had to come back. So I've only been here for a couple months so far.
Now, are you continuing with the Second City as well too, or are you going to take more of their classes or their programs up there since you're living there now?
Yeah, I'm looking into that. I tried out for conservatory. I didn't get into that, but there's another comedy club called IO, which is Improvised Olympics, and I did musical improv there, and that was a lot of fun. And then I just started level 1 at IO, and I'm really enjoying that.
So level 1 is that comparable to Second City, or it's a different I guess type of troupe? But there's a lot of improv in Chicago.
Yeah, there's a lot to choose from, and each place has a different way of doing improv.
Uh-huh.
But IO is really great. I've been having a blast doing that. And once I go through the levels there, I'm probably going to head over to Second City as well. The good thing about Chicago is you can take improv classes at different places and still get a lot out of all of them. There's something different with each one. There's a lot of opportunity in Chicago to study comedy.
Wow. Yeah, my first guest was from Chicago. You make me want to somehow go back to Chicago even for a weekend to see what the crowds are like. I would imagine that it being a big city that there'd always be people out and about and doing things. It's a little bit different than in Florida. They kind of, especially Lakeland, they kind of roll the streets up at a certain point.
Well, like Jennifer was saying before, you can hit an open mic like every night if you want to. So there were times where I would just go every night to different places and just try out material.
That's awesome. That's awesome because it's like anything else, any craft. I mean, that's how you get good is just night after night, doing your act. Whether it be something new that you wrote or something that you have down, but you want to try the timing in a different place and in a different way. I mean, that's how the good get great.
Mhm. True. It's a lot of failing and then learning from it and just moving on and trying again.
Yeah, a lot of failing. I know all about that. But yeah, you do. I think that comedy gives a person tough skin. Like I almost think like comedians, if you can be in comedy long enough, you're like Teflon. Almost anything can just bounce off you.
Yeah, and going back to what Jennifer was saying too, just about like sometimes it's like hard because I've had times where I tried out like a new song and people weren't with me, and I'm like, oh goodness, I have like one more verse to go. What am I gonna do?
That is so funny to me because I never thought about it. But yeah, I mean, anytime you're in the middle of a bit, and I would think that a song would be even that much harder because you just can't stop singing a song. Like the song has a melody and a chord to it, and a stanza or whatever, and so you just can't be like even jokes. Even sometimes if you're in a bit, you can kind of change it up and just be like, okay, I'll end it here. But I think it would be a little bit harder with the song.
Yeah, and I've learned from past experience that people don't really, in my experience anyway, they don't want to sit through a whole comedy song most of the time, or parodies. So I just do little snippets that capture their attention, and I've kind of figured out what their attention span is as an audience, because they like variety and something new. So I'll just do different parodies and little snippets of it.
That's almost exactly what Tracy said. You kind of have to learn, just not to do a whole heck of a lot to keep their attention. So, what do you?
Yeah, sometimes you can't get. Go ahead.
Oh, I was good. No, go ahead.
Well, sometimes you should be too protective, because there's times where I've written songs, I'm like, this is genius, like the whole entire song in its entirety. And then the audience thinks differently, so you just have to cut it and do what works for the audience.
No, I agree. I mean, even just in regular stand-up, I've written so many things, and I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. In fact, you know what? This is the new direction of my comedy. I'm going to throw everything away. I'm going to put it in this direction. And then you go to an open mic, and they're like, what? Stupid. We don't get it.
Yeah.
So it's very, very hard to sort of figure out what you find funny and what others find funny. Now, do you have any big shows coming up that you want to plug? Any stuff that the folks out there can find you?
As of right now, it's kind of a hiatus. I was performing at the Laugh Factory.
Oh, very cool.
And I'm going to start. Yeah, I had some opportunities to do some spots there. So they said I'm welcome back anytime, so I'm going to start doing it there again. Mm-hmm. But as of right now, I'm writing, and there's some opportunities to perform at colleges.
Oh, very
cool. Yeah, if people want to check me out, I have a YouTube channel of all of my songs and impression and characters.
I actually, I'm your Facebook friend, so your YouTubes are always so funny. Like whenever you put a new one out, they absolutely crack me up. I mean, you're very clever. I can see the little kid who's still like in their room trying to hammer out the characters. I mean, you've developed that. I mean, it translates well into your YouTube. You've had some very funny ones that just crack me up. I mean, I'm one of these people. If I see like a YouTube link, I'll watch it, and yours are always very funny.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, if people want to check it out, can I go ahead and plug?
Oh, okay? Yeah, plug away.
I'm going to plug away. It's youtube.com/impressionista. So it's IMPRESSIONISTA09. It's an older YouTube from back in the day, but it's got newer characters and impressions on that. I also have a Facebook page and a Twitter. And that's at Jakribu, JAKRIBU.
One of your videos I remember was a Drew Barrymore video. You do a really good Drew Barrymore impression as well too.
Yeah, that's like I feel like my claim to fame. I've been featured on comedy.com in different places. So that's I guess what works for me the most.
That's just spot on. In fact, I was watching her on Ellen, and I was thinking about you. I'm like, oh my gosh, you have her mannerisms and the way she talks and her pauses, and it's very impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah. My biggest wish is that they make a movie and need a younger Drew Barrymore, and they find me on YouTube and call me. That's would be my dream come true. Even if it was 5 seconds, if I said one word.
Yeah, you never know. Wackier things have happened, and when we live in such this world of YouTube and internet, and it's not, you don't really follow the old rules of what you used to do. I mean, look at Justin Bieber. Usher found him on YouTube.
Yeah, anything is possible.
It is, and you're working hard, and you're very talented and very funny. Well, thank you so much for calling in, Jamie. I appreciate it. This was fun. I liked this little show about musical comedians.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed listening to it too, Robin. I like what you got going on.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Jamie, and don't be a stranger. And one of these days, when you're when you're famous, you'll have to call back into my little sad show again.
Oh, definitely, and I will let everybody know that this is actually the first radio show I've ever done, so this is monumental in my life as a performer.
Okay, very good, very good.
All right, have a good day, Robin.
Okay, thanks, Jamie. All righty, well, I think Oh, thank you. That concludes the Quirky Bird Show. We are taking, Nola, are we taking next week off? There's not going to be any shows next week. Okay. We are taking, yeah, that's because the 10th. The next Tuesday is the 10th. So, August.
I'll be gone August 8th through the 13th, but I'm trying to get somebody to cover. So
Okay, I thought it was July all along. So I need to actually schedule people because I had an awesome show scheduled for the 17th about improv folks. But let me see if I can push that up a little bit. I was thinking we did not have anything going on. So once again, thank you so much. I will see you next Tuesday, the Quirky Bird Show. We'll just call them surprise guests. So keep listening to it and take care and have fun. Thanks.